we're not here to talk about history. We are conducting a forensic audit.
Right.
The file on the desk is Protocol 1177. On the surface, it's a deep dive into the Bronze Age collapse, 1177 BC.
It's not.
No. If you read the source code, it's a map. A terrifyingly precise map for our immediate future.
It's raw intel. For too long, the analysis in the A.R.K. universe has focused on the war for the mind, techno-feudalism, digital control, assimilation.
And this file just forces a brutal shift.
A necessary shift, down to the physical floor, the ground beneath our feet.
And that's paramount because the source material is starkly clear on this point. The ceiling, our spiritual sovereignty, it cannot stand if the floor just disappears from under it.
Exactly. You're fighting for your soul, but consciousness requires glucose. The struggle is irrelevant if your body dies of starvation.
This introduces what the file calls the third vector.
Entropy, the necessary shipwreck.
The danger isn't that the matrix traps you, it's that the matrix shuts down.
It gets devoured by its own complexity. I mean, look around you. You are living in the most optimized civilization in human history.
And optimization is the enemy of resilience.
It is the direct opposite of resilience. We are radically interdependent. We're resting on this razor-thin needle of technology, logistics, and power grids.
So let's unpack that. Because on the surface, doesn't all this interconnectedness make us safer? We can move food across an ocean in a day.
That is the illusion. It's a single point of failure. An ancient farmer, when his palace system collapsed, he still knew how to farm. He knew how to find water, build shelter.
And if that needle breaks today, a solar flare, a cyber attack, anything.
We fall. And we fall much further than the Middle Ages because we've outsourced every basic survival skill. The system might literally die of its own success.
So to understand how fast that can happen, we have to look at the Yabasha, the dry land, the physical economy. That's what cracks first.
Always.
Okay, so let's start there. The first lesson from the protocol, AUDIT, the Switzerland of the Mediterranean.
Untouchable. The global bank. All credit, trade, soft power.
So the core question in the file is chilling. Why did the world's bank collapse first?
Because abstract wealth, financial wealth, digital credits. It's what the file calls a consensual hallucination.
A consensual hallucination.
Yes, and AUDIT committed strategic suicide. The file calls it the oven syndrome.
The oven syndrome, explain that.
Their main political ally, the massive Hittite Empire, was starving. Years of drought. They begged AUDIT for grain.
And AUDIT, to protect its political alliances and its credit rating,
Emptied its own silos, its biological survival capital. They sent their food to save a political structure that was already environmentally brain dead.
They chose political capital over caloric capital.
Precisely. And we have the smoking gun. Archaeologically, it's tablet RS 18.147 found baking in the palace oven, dropped by a scribe as he fled.
What does it say?
The last communication from their king. He confesses the flaw. He sent all his ships and troops abroad to fight someone else's war. His final line is, the country is abandoned to its fate.
And what was the force that finally erased this city of gold?
7 ships.
Just 7 enemy ships.
A tiny vanguard. That's all it took because the city was hollowed out. Its real wealth, its food was invested elsewhere.
Okay, so if AUDIT was financial suicide, Hadi, the vast centralized empire, the USSR of the Bronze Age.
Hadi was the military titan that died of physics.
It had the biggest army, the most power. It wasn't defeated by a siege.
No, it was defeated by a calorie deficit. Hadi's energy consumption, feeding its bureaucracy, its war machine, it just outstripped its production. The system starved itself.
Which brings us to this brutal rule that applies to every centralized system, from 1177 BC right through to today.
Anarchy is just 9 meals away.
3 days, that's the window.
That's the time it takes for a complex city to revert to the reptile brain. The power goes out, the shelves are empty. People realize how thin that veneer of order really is.
And we are far more vulnerable. Our entire supply chain is a just-in-time religion.
We have maybe 3 days of food in our cities, not 3 months.
And the consequence of that is what the file calls the cannibals in the palace scenario.
Yes. In their capital, Hattusa, the evidence suggests the palace wasn't sacked by an external enemy. It was devoured from within.
By its own people.
By its own guards. The moment the great king could no longer feed them, their loyalty evaporated. If you cannot guarantee the caloric survival of your security, you don't have a state. And you, the listener, you have to internalize this. When the trucks stop running, civilization ends.
Right. That sets up the second part of the file. Technology, control and escape. This is the Palisette's lesson. the Philistines.
We know them from the Goliath story. We think of them as brutes.
But the intel audit says they were technological aliens, sophisticated refugees who guarded the secret of iron.
And that's the key distinction. They didn't just have physical strength. They controlled the source code of the dominant technology. Bronze was expensive. It needed trade routes. Iron is everywhere, but you need the knowledge to forge it.
A knowledge they monopolized.
Deliberately.
And you see it right there in the text. I'm thinking of 1 Samuel 13:19. The Philistines literally forbade the Hebrews from having blacksmiths.
Submission by hardware and knowledge. You had to go to them to sharpen your own tools.
And the file connects this directly to today.
Of course. The modern Palisade is Silicon Valley, Wall Street, the defense complex. They are the Pentapolis, the 5 cities, who control the source code of AI, of data, of the platforms we all live on.
We have to go to them to sharpen our digital plows.
And we accept their terms of service. We accept their hardware. It's submission.
So if they control all of that infrastructure, how can anyone fight back? The system of the Goliath, it demands a symmetric tool. It wants you in court. It wants you protesting in the designated area.
And that is the dual fallacy. It's a trap. Goliath is armored. He has the bureaucracy, the lawyers, the funding. You are not.
So if you wear Saul's armor, if you play their game,
You lose. You're fighting on their turf. The David strategy is asymmetric warfare.
meaning you reject their rules completely.
Yes. David threw off the heavy armor. He used range, speed, agility, a low-tech sling. And his target wasn't the armor plating.
It was the unarmored forehead, the system's central weak point, its ego.
You find the glitch, the single point of failure. And then, and this is critical, once the giant is down, David uses the giant's own sword to finish the job.
Use their own technology against them.
Use their encryption, use their decentralized networks, use their remote communication tools against their centralized structure. You leverage the tools of the digital age for your own physical sovereignty.
Which sets the stage for the final map, the Tikkun.
The correction.
This final section of Protocol 1177 lays out the blueprint for escaping the Lulu, the slave state. And it presents a choice. You can stay and die like Egypt, which mummified itself alive into a necrocracy, a state ruled by dead bureaucracy.
Or you become the fugitive, the Shardana, the Danites.
And their strategy is radical.
To desert is to win. The file quotes Jeremiah, "Come out of her, my people. The goal is not reform. The goal is to achieve operational silence, to become unreadable."
The ghost strategy.
Yes.
But how do you become unreadable in a world of total surveillance?
You diversify. First, the ghost economy. Cash, private crypto, high-trust barter, things that don't leave a central record. Second, you maintain a meticulously low profile.
And third, most critically,
Geographic leverage.
be a ship, not a tree.
Exactly. Your loyalty must be to your lineage, not your zip code. If your jurisdiction becomes hostile, you must have the legal and physical ability to move your family and your resources. Fast. You need a hard backup plan.
But just being mobile isn't enough. You need a structure. The file talks about the Shardana mercenaries. They didn't trust the king's paper promises.
They trusted the stone, their Naraga, their defensive towers. Sovereignty must be physical, tangible, defensible.
Which means physical strength, self-defense.
And food sovereignty, above all else. If you can't feed your family, you're still kneeling to the system.
But that structure can't be solitary. The file is clear. The Ark is not one big ship. It is a dispersed fleet.
Built by a minion, a cell of trust.
Okay, so let's break down this minion. What does this cell look like in terms of operational diversity? Who do you need after the shipwreck?
The minion is your microstate, 10 people maybe, and you need 5 essential archetypes to reboot a human system. You need operational diversity.
Let's list them. This is the practical tikkun, the first role.
The healer, the person who can stitch a wound, manage trauma, purify water. When the pharmacy is closed, they keep you alive.
Okay. Second.
The mechanic, the hardware wizard. This is the person who fixes the generator, maintains the radio, keeps your communications online. They are the master of hardware redundancy.
Third, the warrior, the Shardana.
The sheepdog, not just aggression, but disciplined, strategic defense of your people and your resources. They maintain physical sovereignty.
Fourth is the producer.
The caloric engine, the one who knows how to grow food, preserve it, forage for it. They are the person who defeats the 9 meals rule. They are your anti-fragility.
And finally, the fifth, the connector, the Danite, the architect.
This is the visionary. They manage the network with other cells, they handle intelligence, they maintain morale, they see beyond the immediate crisis and plan the next move for the fleet.
And the glue holding this all together can't be a legal contract, because civil law has evaporated.
The only thing that works when paper fails is fides. Sacred loyalty, a blood pact, that promise that if I fall, you take care of my children, and if you fall, I take care of yours. It's the ultimate act of insubordination.
So this whole audit it's
Yeah.
the ultimate reality check. The analysis is that the cardboard reality we depend on is dissolving.
Just like the palaces of the Bronze Age.
And the cost of preparing for this and being wrong,
Mm-hmm.
it's low. You gain skills, autonomy, a real community.
But the file's conclusion, which is a dark twist on Pascal's wager, is inescapable. If the collapse, the shipwreck is real, the cost of not preparing is infinite. It is the end of your lineage. If the system holds, we look a little eccentric, but the tinkering requires action, not just debate.
So the fundamental question is no longer about your job or your politics. It's about what remains when all those abstractions burn away.
The question isn't how much money do you have? The real question is, when the lights go out and the digital cloud evaporates, are you the one who has the hard backup of knowledge and the skills to reboot the human system for your family and your minion?
Secure your body, integrate the third vector,
Ooh.
and prepare to sail.
The swimming class is over. Now history begins.